Morning, this is the White Tank Mountains, and I'm going to break here to talk a little anime. Video Girl I. Video Girl I is a contemporary fantasy anime OVA from 1992. It's one of those stories that starts as a lecherous comedy romance and ends more like a sentimental fantasy soap opera, but along the way it has plenty of pop music to keep us entertained. Yota is a high school student and all-around nice guy. He's feeling especially down on his current romantic prospects, however, revealing that his nickname is Dateless. So he's rented a videotape with a video girl whose recorded encouragement should try to cheer him up and reinflate his ego. He doesn't know it yet, but that tape he's been given is a very special video girl tape with a very special video girl. As he sits glumly down to watch the perky and supportive star, his VCR is a little out of whack, and that's only going to add to his surprise.
私、天野愛、16歳。君の名前は？いいよ。今日からいつもあなたのそばにいてあげる。
Yes, it seems this was a magical videotape rented from an enchanted rental shop that only the pure of heart can find, and Ayamano, the video girl, has literally jumped off the videotape and into Yota's apartment. At the root of Yota's romantic problems, ignoring the sudden appearance of a magical video girl in his life, is the fact that he's got a bad crush on his pretty, longtime friend Moemi. When Moemi confesses her love, not to Yota, but to Yota's best friend, Takashi, it's hard to tell if Yota feels more sorry for his own dashed romantic hopes, or for Moemi, who has to suffer Takashi's rejection. So, Ai is going to make it her mission to get Moemi and Yota together, or at least that should be her mission, if only Yota's VCR hadn't been working properly. Video Girl I starts with a unique and amusing premise and then fleshes it out into a real story. The characters really sparkle. True, Ayamano is a creation of magic. She's not a real girl at all, but she's both cute, energetic, and sympathetic. Yota is only a little bit of a loser, and he's a certifiable nice guy, so you have to pull for him. And we don't blame Moemi too much for overlooking the lovesick Yota for her fixation on his handsome friend Takashi. And even the popular Takashi is, well, sympathetic in his own way, since he's really popular with the girls. There are no villains here, only nice people whose difficulties we'll come to care about. This story starts as a lecherous comedy as Ai invades Yota's quiet life, spiced with some nudity. But by midpoint, it's more of a romantic soap opera with a love triangle as Yota tries gamely to help his friend Moemi win the love of Takashi. At the same time, Ai is trying to get Moemi to fall in love with Yota. And meanwhile, against all the rules, Ai may be quietly falling in love with Yota herself.
私、モテウチ君のこと好きになってればよかったのにな。切ないな、ヨタ。
The ending of the series switches to full fantasy romance, and then eventually to drama. This is a gradual transition so well executed that you're hardly going to notice how easily it suckered you in. The art and animation are by an early production IG studio, and it really looks spectacular for an OVA back in the early 1990s, and it still looks good today. There's plenty of nice music here too. In addition to the opening and ending songs, which are nice, there's also at least one embedded J-pop love song in each of the episodes, making for a really worthwhile soundtrack by a variety of idol singers. Each episode has a small omaki at the end, either a small chibi comedy skit or an interview. I give Video Girl I a solid 4 stars. Until the other day I hadn't watched it for several years, but I still found that Ayamano was a really fun person to spend 3 hours with. Video Girl I is released in North America by Viz, who put all 6 episodes of the OVA onto one DVD, plus a subtitled interview with the manga author Katsura. For some reason they hard-coded the subtitles to the songs onto the DVDs. I tried watching Viz's English dub on the DVD, but it just didn't sound right to me. I could well be biased, however, because I've watched the Japanese soundtrack so many times that only Megumi Hayashibara is ever going to sound like Ayamano to me. So I'll be sticking with the Japanese soundtrack. By the way, this series opens with a simulation of a malfunctioning videotape player, which produced some interesting reactions back in the 90s when most US fans got their anime on videotape. Thanks for listening.